Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is the second in a series, I'll link down below, of making this journal. This is a Christmas journal that could be a December daily, and it's already spoken for, but it's just a craft with me, lets you see what I'm working on. I am not committing to doing the whole thing on camera, but I thought, well, you can see some of what's up, and it is fun to see how things evolve. And some stuff doesn't show as well in video, but if you see it done, then you understand all the details a little better. So while I was off camera, I folded a few more things. I found one more piece of paper I liked. This is from my sheet music book when I was little. So let's be honest, it's a little bit yellowed. It's a little bit vintage, and I'm okay with things being sideways in journals. I don't know if everybody is, but I kind of like it. It's a little bit cutesy, but it's not a crisp white, and I think it works. And to have Christmas songs in sheet music, I think in a Christmas journal is just fun. And I didn't have other Christmas music, or I'm not organized enough to find it. Let me show you what I do next with the journal. It's with the cover, It's been a couple hours, so this has had time to dry, and you can see I haven't trimmed it at all. So now what I do is I take it, and I want it to be as wide as I can possibly get it, but I am going to fix this hairline right here, and then I want it to be 9 inches tall. All my papers are 8.5. I left a little bit of room to cut off at the ends. That helps because if any glue seeped out, you can take it off. And when I was showing you and talking to you in the other video, I didn't actually have it facing the right way. So when you're prepping your journal, be sure and think about what is the actual front. And let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take a Post-it, and I'm going to stick it right here so that as I'm slicing and dicing, I can remember this is the front at the top. This is the way it will go. So I don't want to over trim, and I don't want to have a jagged edge. And if I'm worried about the space or the size of it at all, this is a really important area. Okay, that's just, you don't have to do that. It's just me. Okay, I'm going to get this thing to fold better because it still won't fold at the half mark. Again, I probably should have folded it a little more. And before I start trimming on it, I want to get it straightened up a bit. Okay, it doesn't have to be the absolute full 12 inches wide. I can adjust my pages, but every bit of width that I get means that I trim my pages less, and I have fewer problems with my actual pages fitting into it. I haven't really decided yet if I'm going to have like lace and stuff sticking out of it. I have a yellowy lace and a really white lace. I don't know that I have a nice creamy one. Okay, that's pretty good. We want to be sure it's square too before we start trimming. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to move this over so you can see on my cutter. If you are a quilter and you have like a craft mat and a knife, that works good too. I'm not great at that, so I use this cutter. And one of the reasons I love this cutter, I've got videos on cutters if you wonder, is because it does everything I ask. And this is one of those moments where you have double cardstock and you want a clean cut. And I'm just checking to see, yep, really straight. Here we go. Okay, so you can see I cut a hair off of the outside paper. It gave me a nice edge. I'm happy with that. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing on the top. I'm going to move this down just so it's not in my way. Set it against that edge. Line it up on both sides as best I can to really check and be sure, because I don't want to cut any more off than I have to. Again, I got a hairline cut. That's part of why I go slow. Very nice, nice edge. Okay, now on this, I am gonna trim that back edge a little bit just because this thing's being stubborn and that's the way it's folded. I need to trim this one too, see? So when I trim this one, I'm going to take off my Post-it and lose my place. I'm going to turn it this way so I can see. I need to get that much white off. And can you even see that? and I won't be able to see it from the other side. So I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to go right here. And the world would not end, by the way. I have made journal covers that have this much white edge. But if you have a cutter that will do it and you haven't sewed it together yet, go for it. Okay, now I'm going to turn it this way and just sort of even it up. Now, when I put all my stuff in, it's not really going to matter if they're exactly the same, because there's a good chance that the front and the back are going to get poofed out. Is that a term? When they have all that stuff in them. But I don't know, something about starting straight and square feels pretty good. How cute is that? Okay, so probably some sort of shaker on the front. There's a lot of red, so maybe we bring in some green. And definitely a pocket on the inside and a pocket here. We have a nice sturdy cover because it's 2 layers. I like to have 2 or 3 layers on my covers so that they're really sturdy. Every once in a while you have a piece of cardstock that doesn't need that many layers, but not too often. Okay, we're gonna push my mess. Now, if I was really tricky, I'd flip my cutter around and cut left-handed so you could see better, but I don't think that's something we should try. When I had the camera off, I was looking for more paper. I felt like this is still a little skimpy, even with the ones I added. And I do want some more color and interest. I don't just want a whole bunch of tea dye. Now that is totally preference, okay? I'm going to use these. These were, I think, close to my heart. They kind of echo the cover, so style-wise they work. The color's a little off. These are a little more wine than the red here. That's okay. I'm fine with it. Now, I want to keep as much of this as I can, so we're going to cut off the solid over here. And to save time, we're going to cut both at once. You can cut more than one layer. This is a good use for this paper too, because it's a little bit crinkled here and there. So we're going to take off this side and this. It's not a thick paper, so I'm not going to make any covers or pockets out of it. I'm just going to cut it down so that it's 11 wide, maybe a smidge narrower. And then we'll go 8.5 high. So it's going to be the same size as all those tea dyed. The only trick about cutting more than one piece of paper at once is you have to keep them lined up. If they get away from you, you'll have trouble. And if I had a smaller pattern, I might cut them individually so that I could adjust. Like if I had been trickier, I could have, well, I wouldn't have gotten the, yeah, see, they didn't have the very top of the tree anyway, so this is probably good for me. But if you have patterns that you're trying to maintain, then you're going to want to cut them separate. I'm just going to take them, fold them in half. There we go. And like I said, I'm not going to be in a hurry to sew this together. So we're not going to sew it together in this video because I want to have time to fiddle with it and try things out. Now, because these patterns are on the left, they're going to be on the left. This is gorgeous. And if it was on the right side of the page, I would put it right here and have it probably as, it might even be my focal point for one of my first pages. Now I'm going to mix this one in pretty far because I don't want them to be together. Does that make sense? This is kind of neat. And then I think about how does it look with my cover? Because when you open up the journal, are you going to like the layout? Maybe. It depends on how much I'm going to decorate this. I'm not in love with it. Now, it does have some little birds right here, and I know Becky likes birds, but overall, it doesn't speak to me yet. Here's the thing I've said in other videos, and I know it's true. It doesn't matter if you like the paper. Not really. If you have one of these collections and you're a new paper crafter, just make the journal. You can decorate it any way you want. If this page is too dark, I can take an envelope like this, lighten the whole thing up, put a pocket, put a bunch of stuff, and it covers it up. So it doesn't really matter. But I don't love it. I don't love it next after that. So let's move that one. I actually like that better there. This is okay. Maybe there. Because that page is really light. It has all that white. Okay, now it's starting to feel a little more bulky. It's starting to get some thickness to it, but I counted it, I thought about it, it's a little skimpy. So I'm going to cut this sheet in a certain way. I'm not committed to using it, okay? I love this side, but again, I'd rather it was a cream. I guess it is. It is not white. That's interesting. It's not white. So I'd like it a little darker. And this side is a heavy geometric. And if I'm trying to do a more vintage look, I would have liked these snowflakes randomly. Not vintage. Not so geometric. Makes sense? And in general, I'm a little picky about geometrics. I like my snowflakes in a more natural pattern. That being said, we're going to try something. So I want to do one of those top folds. And I think the easiest way for me to do it is to just fold it, because otherwise I forget. So let's take an inch off so we have the right width. So 11 inches, 5.5, right? Just like we folded an 8.5 by 11 piece paper. So 11 inches, we fold that. Then what I want to do is I want to cut one side, and I'm thinking about which way would it be in my book and how do I want it to lay out. I want this fold to come down and show me this and left or right. Let's go on the right, because in this journal so far, by the way, you do not have to think about all this stuff. You've seen me make lots of journals where I cut the paper just as fast as I can, but you can stop and slow down and think about it. I don't have anything really exciting going on the right hand side, because those two papers that we just put in that are pretty cool, they have this on the left. So on the left, this isn't going to make any sense until you see it, so roll with me if you haven't seen this part before. On the left, I am going to cut at 8.5, and we're doing a hopefully unedited video, and Mr. Crafting and Relaxing is home. So right now, there would have been rampant barking. Okay, now we're gonna cut. You can't see it, but the fold is right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut, about to there, and then I'm gonna stop. Okay. Now I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna come down right here, and I'm gonna snip this out. I know, use the biggest pair of scissors you own for this. Good plan. And it doesn't have to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, just take this, I'll show you, so that we can do it the way you would do it. Like this, and fold this, and then go like this, and straighten it out. Okay? So you can see how it's starting to come together. On the right-hand side of the page, we would have a cute little flap at the top. Do we need a flap? No. Is it fun? Yes. I'm just trying to get it straightened out a little bit so that we have a nice flap. There we go. Okay, now we can put it in our journal right here and decide, ooh, it's nice with that foliage. Maybe we'll put it right there. You don't have to decide the sequence of your pages or figure out the fit right here. See how some of them need to be trimmed until right before you go to sew it together. And that's when you should check all this. I wouldn't start trimming your pages and worrying too much about this until you figure out your sequence, because it'll change. This piece of paper needs to be trimmed a whole bunch because it's almost in the very middle of the journal. But if I switch it to over here, it's not going to stick out as much. Just trust me on that. If you fold a whole bunch of pieces of paper, the ones in the middle stick out more. Okay, I like it. We have a pocket here and our cool thing here. So maybe that's not the place for it, because maybe we want to mix up the variety. Does that make sense? So that as you're flipping through the pages, there's a little bit of excitement here and there, and you get interest on every one. So you have a pocket, then you have a doily. I probably won't leave these two right together either. Then the tip comes down. Don't love those two together though, so we'll see. Right here, there. Okay, now it's getting to the point where it is trying to bounce open, so that's a good sign. Now let's count and see. For a December daily, I do count and I think about how many are in there. For other ones, sometimes I just go, I don't want anything else. So I could have a tag or a pocket here. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm probably not going to cover this up. And this one might be a stretch too, but I think the page would be too plain if I didn't. So 11, 12, 13, 14, not going to write on this, 15, 16, 17, no, probably not, 18. Okay, that's the middle of the journal. We have plenty, absolutely plenty. Now, the only thing I might do is I might look around and find some cute paper to put in here, because I do like to have fun pockets on the inside sometimes. But I don't know, I might not. Or I might switch it like this. So you have this scenery in the middle. Yeah, I might leave it just like that, so you get your tree and everything. Okay, my battery is dying and Mr. Crafting and Relaxing is home. So I think we're done for now. But let me show you what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna sit it right here and I'm gonna put something kind of heavy on it, like this, maybe. And I'm just gonna let it, think about being a journal. Then I'm gonna go watch a movie with Mr. Crafting and Relaxing. And I'm gonna start playing with a bunch of fun things that I think would be good in this journal. And looking at, that one's nice. This one's a little tealy, maybe. So maybe we'll bring in one of these and we'll layer on it. And I think we should use some of these envelopes. And then let's go through this. This has all sorts of stuff I got in Happy Mail and from Mary on like a porch pickup. So I'm going to go through some of these and think, okay, what are some nice vintage items that are in here? See, there's nothing bright white. It's kind of a nice color. And start layering up, making pockets or ephemera clusters before I start gluing in. Sometimes I just go as fast as I can. This one I want to play with, and I know that I have a ton of cute vintage stuff in here. So not this, right? So I want to go through some of these and figure out, okay, how can I use these in this journal? I will probably do that while I'm watching TV, and then I'll come back and show you. And I'll take time to ink the edges and layer things up, and we'll see what we come up with. Oh, postage stamps. We need some Christmas postage stamps too. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're taking time for crafting and relaxing, and I hope that you are finding inspiration in these videos. And if you don't like the unedited or there are horrible sounds or whatever, don't be shy. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.